Travis Wayne Goodsell, last night's Iowa caucus was a complete and utter failure. That's what you get for not following the Constitution. We're supposed to be a constitutional republic, not a socialist republic with communist parties. And so, yeah, the whole concept of picking one individual from a group of people who want to run for president to then be the candidate against the other party who wins their primaries. That's absurd. That's nowhere in the Constitution. There is no law for it. We're violating the constitutional law set up in Articles 4 and 6 with these primary conventions, primary voting, and having parties as well. But like I said in the earlier video this morning, opinions are not truth. Whoever wins for the candidate are not the best candidate. They're just the one who won the popular vote among their party. And that's all it is a popular vote, and that's based on opinions. It's not based on a scientific standard. If it were based on a scientific standard, candidates would be based upon, okay, your past record. You've been in Congress in your state. These are the laws you voted for. These are the laws you voted against. This law was shown to be unconstitutional, and you voted for it. You know, those types of things would level out the playing field and present a better candidate for the job. But we don't have that standard measurement in our society. And so it's all just a feeling election that we have, which doesn't show who's the better candidate. And as a result, our nation is divided into two camps because of that. And so Mormons, because I'm an LDS critic, I use real life examples to show the criticism of Mormons. What's Article of Faith number 12, Mormons? Come on, you all had it memorized from being in primary and seminary and blah blah blah. We believe in being subject. Do you know what subject means? Subjugation to kings. No, regardless, we're not supposed to be subject to corrupt kings, corrupt presidents, corrupt rulers, corrupt magistrates. Because here's the catch: in obeying, honoring, and sustaining the law. Big difference. So, yes, we may have Trump as president, and he's violating the Constitution. He's trying to transfer us into a monarchy, which will be voted on in the Senate on 2 p.m. here Utah time tomorrow. But we are not legally bound to obey corrupt orders. And unfortunately, with a corrupt leader, the followers justify it so that they can commit corruption as well. King Noah, you know that, Mormons. But this is important for the church also. The church must obey, honor, and sustain the law and become subject to our government. What is our government supposed to be? I just told you, Articles 4 and 6. A constitutional republic. That's why there's scriptures in the Doctrine and Covenants about the Constitution is inspired of God, and we should trust the Constitution and uplift it. And Joseph Smith said the Constitution will hang by a thread one day, and the elders of Israel, or an elder of Israel, depending on who gave the version of it, is to save the Constitution. And look at us now, hours away from the final thread being snipped. But the church has to follow the Constitution and the laws and the rules of the United States. They can't hide behind the First Amendment saying that they have freedom of religion. That's not to allow for criminal behavior. Oh, we're a religion, so we can commit crime because it's not a crime because we're protected under the First Amendment. No, that's not how it works. You can't take away the life, liberty, and property of others. Equality. That's what equality is. Everyone getting life, liberty, and property. Not a select group, not a discriminated category. Everybody. And so, what are the rules of the United States? Well, guess what? They have a law book for criminal procedure and for civil procedure. I've already discussed how we shouldn't even have civil, it should all be criminal. But regardless. And so, yes, if you know my videos, you know that I've sued and successfully won against the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And no, it didn't go to arbitration where I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement and receive a minimal settlement agreement so that I can be happy and go on my merry way. No, this is much bigger than that. And so here we have the federal rules of civil procedure. This is what I've been following in this case. Because I can't just go, it's my opinion that the church is bad and I'm the winner. It doesn't work that way. And so for those of you who are thinking that is what I'm claiming, you're not going to the federal docket of the official cases that are filed in federal courts. Mine is 219 CV for Civil 00711. It's a legitimate case. This is the rules for me in filing a complaint. My First Amendment right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. These are the rules of how I go about doing that. And I followed them. They have Rules of Civil Procedure for the United States District Courts. Title I, Scope of Rules, Form of Action. Title II, Commencing an Action, Service of Process, Pleadings, Motions, and Orders. I noticed 6 has been changed. It was 27 from what I had read from another legal site. So that's interesting, but doesn't matter. I still followed Rule 6 as I looked over it. And that's how I won. Because the rules designate what is to proceed. Procedure. These are the rules. So, Article of Faith number 12, these are the rules of which I'm supposed to follow. Even though I'm a Mormon, I'm still supposed to follow the laws of the land. The church, likewise, are supposed to follow the rules of the land, of the Constitution, guaranteeing to everyone life, liberty, property. They can't violate life, liberty, and property to other people. They violated my life, liberty, and property. Thus, I followed the rules of the land and filed a petition for a redress of grievances in accordance with the First Amendment right. What part of this is not understood by you, especially the one person who thinks he is going to be showing me off by putting a thumbs down? You notice your thumbs down doesn't appear, and yet you keep doing it? YouTube protects me now. partially. And so all you're doing is racking up the number of views. Thank you. So the church has to follow the laws of the land too. They are not immune. They are not above the law. They are not the law. That's what people don't get with Trump. People are always complaining on the Democrat side, liberal side. Oh, Trump thinks he's above the law. No man is above the law. We have to follow the rule of law, and blah, blah, blah. And come on, guys. He thinks he is the law. He says he can do anything he wants according to Article 2. He hasn't read Article 2, but he's now claiming, I am the law. Article 2 has been changed where I can do anything I want. He just became the law. That's what he was doing. He wasn't lying. He was changing the law, the Constitution. When he says, I am the chosen one, he wasn't lying. He wasn't delusional. He was changing reality. I am the chosen one. You all better believe it now. That's what he does. That's the danger of someone who fails to follow the laws and rules of the land, especially when they're in the position of authority. And so the church must follow the rules, and the judge, in my case, needed to follow the rules. She did not follow the rules, and thus she is in contempt of her own court. And so I won, because she acted on behalf of the defense counsel for the church. She was compromised, and thus she is in default, is the legal terminology used in the rules. And so I go down to the rules for default. Which one was it? 55? Yep. Title 7, Judgment. Rule 55, Default Judgment. It's considered that only the parties would be in default of a motion. But because of the judge being in default on behalf of one of the parties, it applies to the judge in this case. I won. Default judgment. And so the church doesn't get to appeal, thanks to the judge. The judge can be reprimanded by being terminated. Oops, she's already been fired. And so thus was the conflict of interest involved in my case. And so, the church is lost because of the rules of the land. And the church must obey, honor, and sustain the law and the rules of law. And they have to quit. Lock up the doors, hand me the key, or write me a check. Because there are rules for what I do now. And if they don't want me to do that, they must comply to the default judgment. They have no choice. They have no option. They can't appeal. They've lost. That's how simple this is. And it doesn't matter what your opinions are, Mormons. You can hate me all you want. You can say I'm a traitor. How dare you betray the Mormon church? Gee, blaming victim. That sounds like Christ-like behavior, doesn't it? As Jesus goes around saying, hey, you sinner, you're violating the Pharisaical laws. Repent. No, he didn't do that. He was going after the Pharisees. He was a rebel against the religion, against Caiaphas, the high priest. Who's the high priest in the Mormon church, guys? Mormons? Anybody? Anybody? Are you not understanding? What part of this do you not understand? And yes, you've never heard about this, because the judge was silent. She refused to respond. She violated the rules. And so it's over. And because you guys wanted to do the hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, you are living in denial. And I warned you, you will go through shock that will devastate and alter your life forever. And I've been warning you all these years of this day. Not just for the nation, but for the church as well. Trying to explain to you that when they talk about the sun shall be darkened and the moon turned to blood, it's not just a sign for the sake of signs. They have symbolic significance. Sun represents government collapse. Moon represents religious collapse. Both are collapsing right now. That's right. We're in it. The latter days. Oh gee, wait a minute. Mormons. Isn't the title in their name Latter-day Saints? Why would it be Latter-day Saints? We're not in the latter days. It's going to be in our children's generation. It won't be in ours. As a patriarch told me. A patriarch who gives prophecies to people, to little kids. See, in my mom's day, everybody was getting prophecies that they were going to be the leader of the church. My mom dated such a man. Oh, God. So, yeah, follow the rules. That's why we have rules. So there's no chaos. So there's no confusion. So that everybody knows their role and what they're to do and what they're not to do. It's not complicated. Yes, there's a lot of them. But if we were all taught and trained from our youth to be good people, to not be abusive with opinionative abuses, as I discussed previously in the other video as well, you know, when it has to do with the arts, which are movies, which are magazines, which are photography, crocheting, anything of the arts. Crocheting, technically, it would be more of the colors, because if you don't follow the rules of crocheting, you mess up. Because with crocheting, there's a blueprint you're supposed to follow. For movies, for art, for sculpting, painting, drawing, for singing, there is no standard blueprint of laws or rules to follow. People have their opinions on what makes good art, but that's all it is opinions. So when these award shows come on, and people get upset, why were there no women nominated? Well, because it's people's opinion. That's all it is. And so you can't change opinion and make it truth. Oh, see, we forced them to change and add a woman into the nominees, and there, see, she won because we threatened them. And therefore, she's the best. You know, it doesn't help when people are given awards and money value and stuff like that with opinion-based contests. Sports, completely different story. Those that require blueprints, completely different story. So, follow the rules, unless it's art.